if I told you that the worst thing that happened to you could be the best thing that happened to you? Imagine going blind at 20 years old. Imagine never being able to see another sunset. Never seeing your partner. Never seeing your children. Imagine emerging from that experience, seeing everything more clearly. I don't have to imagine that. That's the story of my life.
Left turn, more.
The facts are far less relevant than the stories we tell ourselves. We all become our stories.
The biggest influence in your life is you.
Victims stay trapped. Visionaries bounce back. I lost my vision to give you yours.
Oh my God. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Resilience expert, billion-dollar deal maker, job creator, author, blind downhill skier, first blind executive to graduate from Harvard Business School's leadership program. Yes, you heard it right. Today, I am pleased, and the entire team Cheers with Gaurav is so proud. And today, we are fortunate that Chad Foster, who happens to be a motivational keynote speaker, sales and financial leader, and an inspirational change agent who works at Red Hat. He was the first blind executive to graduate from the Harvard Business School's program for the leadership development and has been featured in NBC, CBS, Forbes, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, US Today, and the Chief Executive magazine. Determination, ambition, and the resilience are the key driver for his incredible journey. The Atlanta Opera has commissioned an opera inspired by his life story and his first book, The Blind Ambition: How to Go from Victim to Visionary. So let's hear it from the man himself. And I believe every individual today who has joined the stream must be ready to bounce back and hit all the downs that you have, and hope you can get some motivation out from the man himself, Chad. Hey, Chad, cheers from Team with Gaurav, Cheers with Gaurav. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that really warm introduction.
Absolutely. Pleasure is completely ours, Chad. And we from India, specifically who are watching out, we want to say you welcome back and namaste from entire India over here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I hope you remember the last visit that you had from India.
Yeah.
Why you would like to share some experience from India outside here?
I'm sorry, say it again. I had a little bit of a glitch in the software.
Okay, no problem. So what I want to ask you is that hope you remember your last visit to India.
Oh, I do. Absolutely. Yeah, it was in
Yes.
November 2019. That's right.
Yes. So want to share some highlight from that?
Oh, the amount of hospitality, the graciousness of the team. Everyone was incredibly welcoming. I felt like royalty. Both Sarge and I, my guide dog. You made it to India. It was a long trip, obviously, from the United States, but we could not have been welcomed any more warmly than we were when we made our way to India. It was fantastic. We flew in through Mumbai and then drove to Pune and spent about a week in Pune and then came back. But it was an incredible trip.
Right. Thank you so much for Chad. So Chad, I just want to brief you that when I started this initiative, Cheers with Gaurav, I came out with the thought that it's not you. Always there will be someone who is less fortunate than you. And more importantly, our primary job is to serve to the community. And that's why we decided that when I'm going to start this YouTube channel, Cheers with Gaurav, I'm going to pass on some opportunity to youngsters, to the people who want to interact with the industry professionals, who need some motivation, who wants to talk to someone to get their ideologies correct, and they want to pursue and basically become a visionary from victim, that what your book also says. So before I pass on to my team who have joined in, I have a very likely question to you.
Sure.
Like, we have always observed that when we talk about the rain, many of people see that when it rains, the birds, like specifically, like let's say crow, sparrows, or parrots, they majorly just try to like shelter them. They get inside some of the shades. And when it comes to eagle, it just flew over the clouds. And what I can see from your journey, you have been that eagle for us who has come out of all the obstacle that you have come around. So any tip that you would give to me or to all the viewers who are want to watch it, that when the obstacle hits, the situations are not for same for every individual. So what is that key characteristic that everybody should follow?
It's a great question, and I appreciate the comparison that you used there for me. It's humbling for you to say that. I think it really boils down to your mindset and how you choose to look at the obstacle. So you could look at an obstacle as this impenetrable barrier that you cannot change and that will dominate you, or you could look at it as an opportunity for growth. And not everybody defaults to looking at an obstacle as an opportunity for growth, but I do believe it can be learned. I think it's something that we can, with repeated practice, create muscle memory in terms of how we look at situations. And so I'm a living example of that, right? Everything that gets put in front of us. Think about if you were to live a life with no obstacles. You wouldn't even have a chance to grow. How much fun, how rewarding would life be if there were no obstacles? I don't think it would be very fun at all, because none of us would have the opportunity to experience growth. So it's controlling how we show up and the meaning we attach to circumstances, the meaning we attach to events and to obstacles. How do we want to internalize those? Do we want to internalize those as an opportunity for growth and to demonstrate our capability and to expand our capability? Or do we want to look at an obstacle as something that is preventing us from getting where we're going? I actually think that obstacles don't prevent us from getting where we're going. They actually propel us to where we are meant to be.
Right. Means turning your obstacle into the opportunity, I guess, definitely. And you made a right point, I believe. We all like won't see this part, that without obstacles, life is not going to be so much fun. So everybody faces that. It's take like the confidence or something that you should turn that into an opportunity, right?
I think it would be boring. A life without obstacles, I think, would be very boring. What sort of fulfillment and enjoyment would we have if we never accomplished anything meaningful? And, I think all of us can look at our own lives, and when we're in the midst of a really significant obstacle, sometimes it's really hard to think of it like that. But it's important to step back and rethink the situation and make sure that we're attaching the proper meaning to these obstacles and reframing. I use the term all the time. It's the stories we tell ourselves. You become your stories. I really believe in that fundamentally. That's the building block of resilience. And in clinical psychology, it's thought of as cognitive reframing. And so you have the facts of a situation, and then you also have the stories that you use to explain those facts to yourself. And that is where the power lies. That's where resilience lies, is our ability to reframe a situation, to consider that we have these unchangeable circumstances. Sometimes for me, it was going blind. For everybody else, it may be something else, whatever they're facing. We have an opportunity to reframe those situations to ourselves, whatever they may be. And when we do that, it's really powerful, because the way that we choose to attach meaning is way more important than the facts alone. And so those meanings that we attach can either hold us back as a victim, or they can propel us forward.
Right. Thank you. Means definitely, even though all the viewers are amazed by that particular thought, and everybody is commenting the part that the most important life without obstacle is boring, and you need to convert these obstacle into the opportunity. Thank you so much, Chad. So now I'll bring a few of my team members to interact live with you. So first up is Nikita. Hey, Nikita. Cheers. Good evening.
Hello, hello. Yeah,
Cheers.
so good morning, chat. Like, I cannot believe cannot believe the excitement and happiness I have. I got a chance to talk to you like in person. We are talking. It's amazing.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
And just before I get started with my questions, I have just one incident, that time moment to tell you. You
Sure.
posted, like, couple of weeks back, you posted about your book and it's releasing, and you said that why you want this book, write me in the comment box, and I will, give you a copy of my book. I was one amongst those who commented, and I was expecting a copy, but it was just for, the limitation was only US based people. But nevertheless, when it's out, I would like to get a copy of that book, because I am really mesmerized with how you have, framed your life and you are living. It's an inspiration for me.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And let's take that offline and see what we can do. I'm sure there were some sort of legal restrictions that my team had to work with anytime we do any of those events. But let's see what we can what we can work out offline.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I had two things to ask you. First is, every
Sure.
ambitious person, they have some goal setting in mind, right? When they start with something, they decide upon after 3 months or 5 months or 1 year, I want to see myself achieving this. But
Mhm.
due to some non-ideal, some unfavorable circumstances, just in case we are not able to achieve it, how should we console ourselves, that feeling of disappointment, that feeling of failure, or how do we control that?
Well, the difference between success and failure, I believe, is picking yourself up off of the floor just one more time. And so, I can't sit here and tell you that I haven't failed. I fail all the time. And I think actually it's a good thing. If we're not failing from time to time, I don't think we're ambitious enough. I think we should be failing. And we should be failing not all the time, but if we never experience failure, then our goals are too low, right? We should be aiming a little bit higher. So knowing that failure is okay, failure is it's a pit stop on the road to success. It's a place that we will need to go. Keeping in mind that really everybody experiences failure over and over and over in the pursuit of ambitious goals or greatness or their vision for themselves, whatever that may be. Everybody experiences that. All the great athletes, all the great leaders, everybody's experienced failure. One of the greatest leaders of U.S. history, Abraham Lincoln, experienced failure over and over and over. Everybody experiences failure. The difference between the people who reach their goals and the people who don't is quite simply the people who don't reach their goals give up. They quit. They are deterred by failure. When you are unwilling to accept anything less than what you define as your goal, you will be successful. When you are as intolerant of your current circumstances as possible, that will drive the action that you need to change them. So what I do with failure is I internalize failure for me as fuel. Failure becomes my gasoline, my fuel that I use for my engine to push me towards my goal. And failure is not permanent, right? It's not permanent. It's a temporary thing. And it's not some sign that, oh, maybe this was not meant to be. If you know deep down inside that your goal is your why, it's your purpose, it's your mission, let nothing stand in your way. Nothing. When you want to achieve your goal more than you want to sleep in late, when you want to achieve your goal more than you want to watch the latest Netflix show, or when you want to achieve your goal more than you want to drink the water in your bottle of water, or the air you want to breathe, when you want that goal more than you want anything else in this world, you'll have it. And so I think people sometimes get a little easily too deterred, thinking that failure is permanent, and it's not. Failure is just, it's temporary, and it's a point we all face at some point in our lives, and we should face them. we should face failure if we're aiming high enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So my second thing would be is, you do something and we expect some feedback as well, just in case the feedback is really negative and harsh. So for some people, it's sheer disappointment and
Mhm.
demotivation, and somehow it, they just fall apart. That they
Mhm.
dislike me, I'm not good enough, and it's like kind of source of demotivation when
Mhm.
somebody is not giving us the feedback as they should, although we are trying our best. So how do we
Mhm.
overcome from that situation?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Some people are better at giving feedback than others. I think all of us should learn how to give feedback in a more constructive way, because I do think you're absolutely right. Oftentimes people can be too harsh with words. Words do matter. But what I've done, I've had examples of this myself in my own career. And what I try to do is I try to abstract the message from the medium, meaning the medium is the words and they're very harsh. What's the core message there? Is there something that I can take from it that's positive? Although the person may not have delivered the feedback in the best possible way, is there something that I can benefit from the feedback? Is there something that I can take from it to improve myself? And that really gets down to, how do I separate the intent of the person from the impact of the person? And so making sure that I'm looking at their feedback in the most constructive way, and taking something from it, because even though it may be harsh and may be hard to digest, there's probably something that we can learn from that feedback, whether about ourselves or about others. Maybe it's just learning about how to give feedback that's more constructive, right? But there's always something that we can learn from others. And in those situations, I try to focus on the message itself more than the medium that it was used that was used to deliver it.
I think that is so apt. If we have that clearance filter in our mind of, just clearing out the residue and take out the proper message, then our life is sorted in terms of feedback. That clearance filter. I just so agree with that point. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And just one last thing before I just, let other people speak is,
Sure.
I was one of those viewers when you came to Pune office. I attended that session and it was amazing. It was like I was in complete awe of you. And thank you so much. I would like to, invite you again to Pune office whenever these conditions are normal. And it will be pleasure having you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, Nikita, for bringing that point up. Definitely, we are enlightened by the thoughts. Thank you so much. Okay, so up next is one of the student who reached out to me when we posted this poster out chat. So
Hmm.
he's also running a community who is helping a lot of students out there in India. He runs a YouTube channel and he's been teaching a lot of young folks out there. So Kshitij, how are you doing? Cheers.
Good evening, sir. Namaste, first of all.
Hi, thank you. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for what you're doing in the community.
Thank you, sir, for your words. And, sir, I have a question. As you said once in your talks, that when life gives you lemons, you make margaritas out of it. And while many of us would love to enjoy the margarita, forgetting that it would first require the presence of lemons in our life. So, according to you, how important is failures in each of our life, and how important they are to impart growth and learning in our life? Also, I would like to know your key to success.
Well, I do think, as we were saying earlier about, sorry, my phone's ringing here and I can't get it to stop. As I was saying earlier about failures, and obstacles, I think anytime we have an opportunity, we have an obstacle in front of us, it's an opportunity for growth. And so, yeah, I like to use the little bit of a some humor with it, talking about turning lemons into margaritas. And you know, at the end of the day, right, life is going to give us some ups and some downs. We're all going to experience moments of triumph, and we're all going to experience moments of tragedy. That's inevitable. That's just part of the human condition. And so I think what we have to do is learn how to just kind of be present in the moment and experience each moment as they come, and learn that even in the moments that are not so fun, are not so favorable, there's something to be taken from it, right? Every obstacle presents an opportunity. And so what is it that we can do in order to improve the way that we look at those situations? And I know it's hard to do it when we're in the midst of those moments, but it's all about how we choose to internalize it and the stories we tell ourselves and the meaning we attach to those situations. So I just think that's such an incredibly powerful concept, because most people get stuck there. They get stuck with the stories playing in their heads. You know, we all have these stories in our minds, and we have the voice of the positive voice and then the negative voice. And a lot of times the negative voice wins out. And I think just being more intentional about which voices we listen to, because those voices in our heads eventually they creep into the words that we use. They creep into our attitudes, how we show up at work, our behavior, and ultimately our actions in our life, and eventually our outcomes. And so we just have to be very focused and very intentional about the thoughts we allow to play in our minds, because it does become our words, our actions, and our outcomes.
Yes, sir. And sir, also there are times when life knocks us down and pushes us at the rock bottom. When we have been preparing for something since a very long time and putting all of what we have and fueling our nutrition in it. And suddenly life take that opportunity away from us. So how to deal with such failures and distressful situation, and how should one take it as a learning in their life?
Well, life will knock you down. Life will always knock you down. I think, when this happened to me, when I first was going blind, I started, like many people, thinking like a victim. And so you can ask yourself, why me, with the tone of a victim, like I did when I was in college. I went blind and I had this tone of a victim. Why me? Poor me. And over time, I learned to shift my tone. My question remained the same, why me? But instead of having the tone of a victim, I had the tone of someone who was genuinely curious. Why did this happen to me? What is it that I can learn from this situation? And I think having that curious tone in the way that we probe a situation will allow us to have the open-mindedness that we'll need to find solutions that can actually carry us forward instead of holding us back. And, understanding how we show up and the attitude that we have and the mindset that we have when we look at these situations can open up possibilities that we may not be able to see if we don't have that open mind and that curiosity in our hearts. Because at the end of the day, there are certain things that are outside of our control, certain things that we cannot change. And so we have to learn how we can make those situations look good. We can make those situations acceptable for us, because as soon as we can start to visualize success in a situation, like for me, blindness, then all of a sudden I can start creating the right mindset and the right attitude to move towards acceptance of the situation.
Okay, sir. So we should use our failures as stepping stone for success and should change our attitude towards failure and move it to success. Thank you, sir, for such a great words. Thank you, sir, for an enlightenment session.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you, Kshitij. And that's made me remind, Chad, I hope you will agree, that people oftenly like to create the laminates, they use the flavors. And while we are using for a finger bow, they put down a lemon slice in it. So I guess it's totally depends on you. People are anyhow gonna like comment, or it's gonna view. It's your positive mindset that creates the difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easier to be a victim. It's emotionally comforting to be a victim. People, it's hard to hold yourself accountable, and it's harder to say, you know what, I didn't ask to go blind. I didn't want to go blind, but I have to own this situation. It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
It takes more comfort with yourself. It takes more accountability. It takes a stronger will and a stronger mindset. But life is so much more rewarding when we do that. But I think that the tendency for a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people prefer the emotional comfort of being the victim. But at the end of the day, the true victim, if you play a victim in your life and you don't get out of your life what you want out of it, whether it be the right job, the right promotion, the right career, whatever the case may be, if you don't get what you want out of your life, at the end of the day, the real victim is you, because you've let your life pass you by and you didn't get what you wanted out of your life. So I believe in just holding myself accountable in the moment and saying, I didn't sign up for all of my circumstances. I'm not responsible for my life and all of my circumstances, but I have to be accountable for my life and its outcomes. If I'm not, who will be? It's my life. I have to own it. It's your life. You have to own it, whatever is going on in it.
Definitely. And I believe that what makes the difference. Awesome. So taking ahead, I have one of the viewers who actually commented on our post, and she was quite excited to be a part of this session. So Divya, cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Hello, Chad. Hi. Thank you so much for the opportunity that you all have given me to have a chat with you.
My
I really
pleasure.
welcome
Sure.
you to this chat.
Thank you.
So, I had a question. I wanted to ask, like, I watched your video, and once you said that excuses are for losers, and there are always two sides of a story, a positive one and a negative one. It depends on us which one we pick. So, even though we know about it, the positive side, there are times that we have negative thoughts and insecurities that starts to take over. How should one really deal with them and take them constructively?
Yeah, I think to not have those is just, everybody on the planet has negative thoughts and insecurities. Not having those would be very unnatural. I have those, I had those, everybody will continue to have those. The important thing is it's almost like you have to pay attention to what dominates your thought patterns over time. And so if the negative thoughts are the ones that you're allowing to dominate your thought patterns, that's going to take you to a place where you don't want to be. You have to associate yourself, whether it be, through journaling, writing down the stories that you want to become true, painting a picture of the positive stories, and really intentionally being very conscious about it, because a lot of this happens in subconscious thought, right? We don't speak every thought that comes to our minds. Things just happen in our brain so quickly, but those thoughts do eventually become our words. And it's important for when we're thinking about, when we have these negative thought patterns that are very natural, that we catch ourselves, that we stop ourselves and say, all right, that's one possible outcome. And so what I like to do is I like to think about what are the positive stories and the negative stories, and really get clear by writing down the positive stories, because it forces you to get very, very crystal clear about your vision that you want to become your reality. And then by writing it down and repeating it and adding as much detail as possible, you can really start to crystallize in your own mind's eye what outcomes you really want to happen. And what that will also do is help you pay more attention to how many of your thought patterns are tending towards the negative versus the positive. But it does take some practice so that you can catch yourself when you're, what I call, when you're ruminating, when you're just going over and over and over the negative, because that's not very productive. That will not take you where you want to go. And unfortunately, we all become the stories that we have playing in our minds. So we just have to be very aware and very conscious about what those stories are, and making sure that we're telling ourselves the positive stories.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with what you said. Yeah, we have this is an option that I will definitely give a chance. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think,
Another question that, yeah,
no, go
please
ahead.
continue. No, no, it's done.
I was just going to say that writing it, I think writing things down helps. Whether you journal, whether you type it out, whether you're painting a picture, but just getting the words out of your mind and onto a piece of paper, and making sure that you've got the words that reinforce where you want to go, and repeating it, right? Repeating it in the morning, repeating it in the evening, whatever your story is, whatever your goal is, making it a conscious practice, because I really believe that things, and we do this at home with our children, right? We have a gratitude session every night where we all share things that we're thankful for, because I believe that by sharing things that we're thankful for consciously, over time, just like the good stories and the bad stories, it will creep into your subconscious. So eventually, if you bring your focused attention to it long enough, eventually it will become habit for you, and it will become habit forming, so that you don't have to be, as intentional or as on guard against the negative, because the negative thoughts will start to dissipate over time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So another thing that I wanted to ask was that sometimes we are dealing with a problem all by oneself, and people around you starts to question it, stop it, even mock it. Taking yours as an example with the oracle, you made it happen, right? So how would you advise people here to take it as a challenge when you are all by yourself on such a path?
Well, who really gets excited about accomplishing something that's ordinary, right? I think what gives me a lot of excitement is trying to do something that people can't imagine being done. If people say it cannot be done, that makes for me, at least, it makes it more exciting to try and do it. I'm not excited about doing something that everybody knows can be done and is easy. I'm motivated by doing something that everybody says, no, that's not possible, or that's crazy, or that gives me motivation and energy to actually go out and demonstrate that I think it can be done. And so you have to really follow your heart in these situations and know your capability. And I think that's where innovation happens, right? Innovation is the difference between what everybody else thinks can be done and what can be done.
Exactly. Thank you, Chad. That's
My
it
pleasure.
from my side.
Absolutely. And to adding your point, Divya, I just want to remember, and I personally want to thank Chad on that part, that when I had the last interaction with Chad, he told me one thing, which I'm going to remember for all my life, that when somebody says no to you, it's your opportunities to roll up your sleeves and see the other way around, that how you are, if you are confident, how you can sell that part. And that is the true salesmanship, that somebody says no, because yes, you always are expecting it, but when somebody says no, that's the right opportunity to roll up your sleeves and sell that part. And that's what makes you unique and stand apart from the crowd. And I can't thank enough, Chad. Means since the last interaction with you, I had so much of things going in my head after that particular thought, and I made a practice in my life to take it ahead.
That's
So
great.
thank you.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, anybody can if they say yes immediately, you're not even selling at that point. You're just taking orders, right? Selling is when they don't agree, and you can have a conversation to influence them to reconsider their point of view. Obviously, respectful and in the right spirit, but salesmanship, being able to influence others. I mean, that starts when people don't always agree and they don't always align. And so knowing how to influence others while at the same time moving towards a common goal, I think is a really important thing. But staying true to who you are and knowing what's important to you and where you want to be, whether it be, we're talking a little bit, sales. A lot of people associate that with professional, but it's not just selling something professionally. It's in any part of your life. What's important to you?
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Divya, for bringing that part up for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you always, Chad, for giving us the thoughts that can keep on going on us in our head. And thank you so much. And next up is Sarthak. So he happens to be a co-founder for an organization here in India called Dot Question Mark. He's helping students to learn a lot of like C, Amazon, and many other concepts. He also runs a YouTube channel where he is every single day basis. He's like teaching the students, guiding them, mentoring them, giving them some mentoring sessions as well. And he's a perfect candidate I thought of for the session to get us. So hey Sarthak, cheers. Over to you.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hi, Chad. Thank you, Gaurav, sir, for mentioning me. Hi, Chad. I'm a bit nervous while I was talking to you.
Oh, well, yeah, it's very nice meeting you. No need to be nervous. Any question you have, anything I can do, let me know. And I really love your mission, what you're doing. It means a lot to me that you're helping so many people. That's really inspiring for me personally. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with the book and with the speaking, is to try and help others and pay it back. So it's really inspiring for me to meet people like you who are also interested in helping other people.
Thank you very much, sir. So recently I watched, your video where you said that whenever I am in a waiting hall with my big wolf dog, people really come and you first. That was really epic, and I love the humor you integrate with the motivation. So I think first of all I would like to thanks for that particular motivation. All the talks what you have given on the platforms. So and yes, sir. So my first of the question is that whenever there is ample of amount of opportunity for the students, for the for all the tech workers, but nowadays what the main concern is the self concern. People are thinking that are they eligible for this, or can they do this particular task or not? And whenever they cope up with this particular concern, the opportunities goes. Okay, the opportunity is gone away, and they can't able to handle this particular all these opportunities. So what you suggest, how the people around us, how we youngsters handle these opportunity and manage these opportunity as far as concerned? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So if I heard your question correctly, it's trying to assess whether or not someone actually has the capability of delivering the tasks required in a job, right? Being successful in the job. And that's a mix, I think. So there's the skill level that people have on day one, and then there's the capacity to improve the skill level and be successful in the job. And so people may be looking at a given opportunity and they may not have all of the skills on day one, but they may have the capability to have all of those skills in a set amount of time and be very successful in the job. And so I would encourage people, and I've done this in my own career when I was looking into opportunities, and I was just very transparent with the hiring manager. And I said, look, if you're looking for somebody who's been doing this for 10 years, I'm not your person. I'm not the guy. You need somebody else. But if you want somebody who can be very successful at this job, based on my past experience and my ability to learn quickly and deliver, I think I can bring you a lot of value using commercial best practices from prior jobs that I've had. So I think transparency and honesty with the hiring manager, but also confidence in your transferable skills, things that you can bring to the new job, even though you may not have 10 years of experience doing the job required in this particular opportunity. Having some confidence in your capability to learn the skills that you need to be successful, and knowing that you have some transferable skills already. So it's that combination of confidence in oneself and transparency with the hiring manager, and identifying the pathway to get from prior experience that can be transferred and my existing capability and what I can grow into this role for the future.
Great, sir. Thank you for this. I am having this question from past few years, and I was thinking about this. How students are always asking when I was deliver some talk, or whenever I take some lecture series. So they always talk about if you got the opportunity, so how to tackle that, how to manage that opportunity. Thank you very much. Many of the students are watching you, and and in the WhatsApp groups, in the Telegram channel, they are keep pinging me that it's far better than other sessions what we are doing. Thank you very much, sir, for solving this concern.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarthak, for bringing that point out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, Chad, I want to ask you a question. But before that, I want to ask our viewers to please post the questions in the comments so that I can read out for you, and we can ask some questions to Chad as well. Now, Chad, I want to ask you one question that you have been inspiring a lot of people. You have been doing motivational sessions, keynotes at many of the stage for corporates as well as for the many people out there. Who actually motivates you the more? Means I just want to ask you, can you give us some few names to whom you follow a lot, who makes you inspired?
Yeah, so there are a few people who definitely inspire me. I think what gets me inspired are people who are really trying to give back and trying to help other people with the situations in their lives. And so there are a few people out there. A couple of them, they've supported my book. One in particular, I did a fireside chat a couple of weeks ago with Bill George. He's a mentor, teacher. I studied under at Harvard Business School, and he was the former CEO of Medtronic, one of the world's, if not the largest, one of the largest medical supply companies. And he teaches a lot about, how do you identify the purpose in your life. He talks a lot about authentic leadership. And it was in his class that I discovered the opportunity that I've been exploring now for the last several years of helping other people. But you follow somebody like Bill George, and very quickly, you see that what you see, he's very genuine. What you see is what you get. He's very genuine. He's very authentic, and he's very sincerely interested in helping other leaders, helping other people, and helping people not only find their true north and their purpose, but becoming great leaders, and multiplying his leadership impact in the spirit of that. And so people who inspire me really are the types of people who have their purpose and know their purpose, and it involves helping other people, and helping other people become the best version of themselves. So that to me are the kinds of qualities that I look for when I'm following people and get inspired by people, because it's been a big part of my journey for the last several years. So it's something that moves me and definitely catches my attention.
Absolutely agree. And I just want to remind everybody viewing this video that Chad's book is also available to get delivered as a hard copy in India. Definitely, it is going to take some time, but Amazon.com is good to deliver us. The link is in the description. Please go follow it up and check it out. Also, Chad's website, chadfoster.com, is also linked in the description. Go follow him on that. And also the YouTube channel of Chad, I have also pinned in the description. I highly recommend everybody to go and watch his videos. That I personally take it as a motivation to me, because every single day, the day I have interacted, and even before that, when I was following Chad's story, every single night before the bed, I saw some of the video clips from the Chad's YouTube channel. And thank you so much, Chad, for giving us that platform to learn and to get inspired every single day.
My pleasure.
So,
My pleasure.
Coming out the next question from audience, Varun has a question that, how do you manage the competition in your field and come out to be successful?
How do I manage the So I think the main person I compete with in my field is me, right? There's a lot of competition, and we could all try and compete with others. I think the main competitor in our lives, though, is ourselves. Yes. And so how do we show up and be just a little bit better version of ourselves? So I try to not think of it as me versus anyone else. I try to think of it as just me versus me. And how can I be just a little bit better every day? And so whether that's reading a book or exercise or some athletic competition, or how I can just improve my mental habits, whether it's through mindfulness and being present. I just want to be a little bit more effective every day. And so, just 1% per day, right? Or 1% per week could be over 50% in a year. So for me, it's about managing myself so that I can be just a little bit better. And so when I think about being a little bit better and managing myself, I think about what are the conditions that produce the best version of Chad? How do I show up? What are the days? And you can start journaling on days when you feel good. And everybody knows what a good day feels like. Have you ever had those days when you're walking around and you feel like meetings are just going well? You feel like you're showing up in meetings and you're having phenomenal progress and you're doing great work. Take a note on those days. Write down what you did that day. How did your morning start? What did your nighttime the night before look like? What was your nighttime routine? What did you eat? Did you exercise? What time did you get up? What time did you go to bed the night before? What did you do for lunch? And if you start journaling, what you'll start to notice is a pattern of behaviors that create a formula for your best self. And once you start identifying what that formula is, then you can go out and create a set of habits around that so that you show up at your best every day. And so for me, for example, I know getting up early and working out first thing in the morning at 5 a.m. is something that makes me a happier, more balanced version of Chad. And so I get up every morning at 5 and I work out, and then I'll practice some mindfulness. And it takes me getting in bed at a decent time to do that. But I know that if I do that, then I'm going to be just a little bit better, a little more balanced. And by showing up as our best selves every day and having that balance in our lives, we're more resilient and able to adapt to the circumstances that life throws at us. And so when something goes wrong in a given day, as it inevitably will, we're better able to cope with those things if we start off the day and we create the right formula for showing up at our best selves.
Thank you. Thank you for that insight. I believe you may make it very much simpler and easier for everybody watch out. And Varun, especially to bring that question, your best competitor is you. So just focus on you, learn from your habits that you do every single day, and you can be better every single person. Okay, it's coming out. The next question from Vittal says, sir, if someone has suffered disappointment and setback continuously and is having a feeling that everything is against them, how should they be able to overcome that feeling and change the mindset?
Yeah, that sounds like an overwhelming one. I think feelings like that come and go. And I don't know how much this audience or this particular person asking the question practices mindfulness, but feelings are kind of like the waves in an ocean, right?
Right. Chad, I guess we lost the connection. We are not able to hear you. Okay, we are just checking out, everybody. Please be there. Hope you guys are doing great and enjoying the interaction with Chad. And by the meantime, the technical glitch get resolves up. I have something very much special for you. And basically what we are trying to do is to give you the unbreakable, unshakable force of resilience and where you can be motivated and everything. And I guess the living example for that is Chad. And I want to revisit you all the book that Chad has written, The Blind Ambition. Trust me, guys, it has motivated me. And I want to run that video again for you all to go through and hear what Chad has always believed. And this is about his story. So I just want to play it back again for you all. Trust you can get it back, one more bounce back, and let's see by the time Chad resolves the issue and we can hear more of his story.
What if
if I told you that the worst thing that happened to you could be the best thing that happened to you? Imagine going blind at 20 years old. Imagine never being able to see another sunset. Never seeing your partner. Never seeing your children. Imagine emerging from that experience, seeing everything more clearly. I don't have to imagine that. That's the story of my life.
Left turn more.
The facts are far less relevant than the stories we tell ourselves. We all become our stories.
The biggest influence in your life is you.
Victims stay trapped. Visionaries bounce back. I lost my vision to give you yours. What if I told you that the worst thing that happened to you could be the best thing that happened to you? Imagine going blind at 20 years old. Imagine never being able to see another sunset. Never seeing your partner. Never seeing your children. Imagine emerging from that experience, seeing everything more clearly. I don't have to imagine that. That's the story of my life.
Left turn more.
The facts are far less relevant than the stories we tell ourselves. We all become our stories.
The biggest influence in your life is you.
Victims stay trapped. Visionaries bounce back. I lost my vision to give you yours.
Being victim to visionary. I guess one thing which I can relate from the chat's journey is always bounce back. People will challenge you, people will force you to go down. And one thing means this particular video, when I watched about like a months back, I was remembering one thought that was keep popping in my mind that one day, if I'll be good, what I'm going to do. And I found the answer that yes, I'm going to empower others. And foremost thing means what we have gone through this session and from the chat's life. One thing I can say for sure is that never sit back. Never sit back means stopping yourself from the comments of other, the problems that you face. And even during the session, Chad has said this part that without obstacle, life is going to be boring, right? And more importantly, when Kshitij brought this question out, life gives you the lemons. You just pick it up and make the lemonade out of it. More importantly, how inspirational journey it can be. So what I want to do before we popped out of this session, I want to bring all the team who has joined today to share their experience while interacting with Chad, and we can close that part and say thanks to Chad and cheers to everybody out there. Hey Kshitij, Sarthak, Divya, Nikita, how was your experience? Why don't you tell our viewers talking to Chad? Kshitij?
Actually, it was a great experience. Thank you, sir, for inviting us to the session. And it was thrilling for us for that Chad sir enlightened us with their experiences. And it was a very impactful and motivating session for me, as well as I hope it is for the audience as well. So thank you, sir. And cheers with Gaurav.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Cheers, buddy. But I also want to take a moment to ask Divya. So Divya, how it was for you?
It was a great experience getting this opportunity. I'm really glad. Like I did not expect that I will get this opportunity, and out of a sudden, like it just popped out, and it really made me happy. And the experience was really great. It inspired a lot of us, and I hope it inspired others as well. I will definitely going to share it with others. These the thoughts that he has shared with all of us. It was a great experience. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us live, Divya. How about you, Nikita? You have already heard Chad before, and how was the experience hearing to him?
Yeah, I mean, it
Okay,
was
I
very
guess
nice. I have heard
okay,
him, but
I'm going.
I have never spoken with him.
Okay, so we were just interacting, and I guess during this lockdown, we have realized one thing that you cannot stop, right? The challenge will come and go, and one of that challenge we experience the lifetime, like we are interacting with Chad, and we face this technical glitch. But as we said, if we are doing it for good, everything will work good. So I guess Chad has joined us back again. Hey, Chad, hope you can hear us.
Yeah, I can. Sorry about that. My laptop actually the battery died on it. I didn't realize it wasn't plugged in. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. We were just like listening to your book trailer once again, and we all are thrilled that how you have described your entire journey, right? So, taking this part ahead, I guess I have one thing to say, you Chad, that I always believe that life knocks us down. It's you who bounce back. And you have also mentioned in one of the video which I was watching that the fear that drive us is the ultimate force. The taller the mountain, the better the view. So why don't you tell our viewers that when you like encounter any obstacle in life, what you do basically to cop up that obstacle and just hit the ball out of the court?
Well, I think fear dominates a lot of our decision making. So there's the natural fear that we all have when we're facing an obstacle, and maybe it's the fear of failure and not being good enough, and maybe we'll, fail very publicly. And a
Right.
lot of times that dominates people's decision making. But I like to think of counter fears. What are the other fears aside from that fear? So there might be the fear of not reaching our full potential. And that's the fear that I allow to drive most of my decision making. So I like to play the mental game of fast forwarding in my life. And so I fast forward until I'm retired, and maybe I'm 70 or 80 years old if I'm so fortunate. And when I look back on my life, what am I going to regret more? Am I going to regret trying something and failing at it? Or am I going to regret not even trying and never knowing how wildly different and successful my life could have been? So for me, that mental exercise of zooming forward in my life and looking back on it gives me the kind of clarity to make decisions consistent with my values and my ideals. And oftentimes what I end up finding myself is that, I'm much more comfortable with the fear of failure than I am the fear of not knowing what could be possible.
Right. That's an awesome. Means definitely, I believe all the viewers would agree to this point that try, try it. You never know what is gonna plan for you. Your destiny is definitely destined, and what you can expect if you are not trying, you will sit back and just took the things that if I could have attempted it, it would be different. So go out and attempt. Challenge are waiting for you. Conquer them.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. You
So
never know if you
one
don't
more.
try.
Yes, yes. So one question is there from the audience, the viewers. That says that Jyoti want to ask you the thing. Asking is something that it happens that we don't have the enough courage to face any competition. Even we know it can be done by us, but there is a little bit nervousness how to tackle that.
Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is stepping through the fear. It's doing something despite the presence of fear. If you're not nervous, then you're not human. Every human gets a little nervous. Every human gets scared. That's normal. What separates leaders from followers are people who are able to step through the fear and say, you know what? I am scared. You know what? I admit it. I am scared. I don't want to fail. I don't want this to happen. But then saying, you know what? In my heart and in my mind, I know it's the right thing to do. I'm going to step through the fear and I'm going to pursue my dream, my goal, the right plan for the company, whatever the case may be, despite that fear. And so it's looking fear in the face and stepping through it, and following your heart, and following your ambition, and following your mind.
Right, right. So I hope, Jyoti, you got the answer right. So the next question comes out from Mansi that, sir, once we reach at the top, it's very hard to stay and maintain the same position. So can you tell how to maintain the same?
Well, yeah, I don't really think about maintaining the same. I think about continuous growth. And so for the first, I don't know, 15 years of my career, I was very focused on myself and my career. And that was good. But when I got to a point after about 10 years or so, I realized that it wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough because I thought I could do more to help other people. And so then I started looking around and saying, all right, now I'm going to be okay. My family are going to be okay. I've not achieved everything I want to achieve, but I know that I'm going to be fine. Now, what can I do to help other people? And I started looking around to see how can I help others? And that created more growth opportunity for me too, because then, instead of looking inwardly about how I could grow my own career and myself, I started looking at others to see how I could help them grow their careers and grow their leadership potential and help other people navigate the twists and turns that life throws at them. And so that created a whole new platform and a whole new expansion area for me to think about growing myself that I had never really even contemplated before. So, I personally don't think of it as staying in one place. I think if you're staying in one place, then you're static. And I think if you're not growing, then you're kind of slowly dying. So I would be looking for areas of expansion, even when we think we've reached, the high point. What else can we do to bring others along for the ride?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Another viewer want to ask you, what if I willingly decide to be a victim? Why would you consider it a problem?
If you willingly decide to be a victim?
Why would you consider it a problem?
Well, if that's what you want to be, I wouldn't consider it a problem. I think the question this person has to ask themselves is, do they want to be a victim in the moment, or do they want to be a victim in their life? And so, if again, going back to my time travel exercise, when this person is retired and they look back, which decision are they more comfortable with? Being a victim in the moment of 2021, or being a victim in their life in the longer arc of time? And if they've answered that question, then this is an individual choice, right? Each individual has to make their own decision, their own determination, what they're willing to accept and what they're willing to live with. And for everybody, the answer is not going to be it's not going to be the same. Everybody's going to have a different answer. But for me, I look at it as I can be a victim at this point in time, or I could be a victim of my life. That's how I look at it. And I would rather not be a victim of my life, and so therefore choose to not be a victim at a point in time. And so just kind of own the situation, because, sitting around, if I were to sit around and make a bunch of legitimate excuses and legitimate reasons to fail, it wouldn't help me get closer to my goal. I have goals despite my blindness. There are things that I want to do with my life despite the situation that I've been presented. So I could come up with a lot of good reasons to not get what I wanted out of life. But at the end of my life, the only person who would lose in that situation, who would be the victim, would be me. And so I'm only doing myself harm if I choose to do that, because there are things that I want out of life. There are goals and dreams that I want out of my life. And so the only way that I can get those is to hold myself accountable and have that tough conversation with myself about what it is that I want and what am I going to do to actually make that happen and get what I want out of life.
Right. So that's very part. So we'll take the last question from the audience, which somebody, Mrityunjay, has specifically asked that, apart from your work, what you do in your free time?
Well, I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy exercise. I go, I work out in the morning. I like to ski. I like to downhill snow ski. I like to travel, like going to, for example, kind of adventure seeking, whether it's to volcanoes or on holiday, to to experience different cultures and different cuisines. I enjoy concerts, going to music concerts when hopefully those are available again sometime soon. Love comedy shows, going out with friends. So I'm a pretty social person. I love to be around people, which is for all of us, right? It's been a challenge. Those of us who love the human connection, it's been challenging over the last year or so, but hopefully we're getting to a point pretty soon where we can start doing that again.
Right. And I guess that's even likely for everyone. Be social, hearing the people's experience, helping them to talk to someone. I guess that is the biggest joy of anybody's life. I have one question for you, Chad. Why don't
Sure.
you talk, or why don't you tell our viewers about your dog, about your constant companion with you?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sarge. Yeah. So Sarge is a 100-pound German Shepherd. He's about 4 years old, and he's a super dog. I went to the school, the Seeing Eye, and I asked them for a guide dog. Told them I wanted a German Shepherd, and they asked what I was looking for in the dog, and I said, "Well, I need a dog who is able to sit down for all-day meetings. He needs to be comfortable around large crowds. Sometimes I go to conventions with 15, 20,000 people. I need to use escalators and elevators and planes and trains. And sometimes we travel to Asia, and it's, sometimes 30, 40-hour flights. Sometimes we stay in hotels for many weeks on end, and there's no real routine. The dog needs to be able to handle all of these different things." And they said, so basically you need a dog with a cape, a super dog. And that super dog is Sarge. Sarge is the super dog, and he's absolutely remarkable. You mentioned I came to India a little over a year ago before COVID hit, and Sarge he does better with the long haul travel than I do. He's been to India, he's been to China, he's been to Japan, he's been to Singapore, he's been to South Korea, he's been all over Europe and North America. He has his own pet passport when we go to Europe. He can, instead of me having to get the really thick sheaf of paperwork, I can just take his passport. So yeah, my dog even has his own pet passport. It's pretty fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chad, for sharing Sir's story. And definitely, he is a super dog.
Yeah, he even has his own Instagram handle too, Sarge the Guide Dog.
Wonderful.
His own Instagram handle.
I'll get that handle and I'll put that in the description as well. Okay, so Chad, have you tried speaking Hindi?
I have not. No, I have not. And I'm afraid that I would destroy it. I have a hard enough time speaking English. So I have not tried it. Not yet, at least.
Okay, so can we try live if you agree? Something?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Can we try it live?
Sure.
Okay, so basically when we are quite happy and when we are dancing at wedding, or I should say when we are celebrating some moment, in general, we just simply raise both of our hands and we say, Chak de Fateh.
Can you say it again? Chak Bay?
Yeah, Fateh.
Fateh.
Chak de Fateh.
Like this?
Yes. So let me bring my entire team and let's do it with them. So I guess they will feel also happy, and so as our audience as well. So hey team, like you have joined now live, let's do the Chak de Fateh step with the Chad himself. So hey Chad, let's do that Chak de Fateh. Raise both our hands and let's say Chak de Fateh.
Okay.
Chak de Fateh.
Chak de Fateh.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chad. So team, do you want to say a few things to Chad before we wraps up?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for motivating
Chad, it
us
was
and
absolutely. Yes,
and
just go
telling us
ahead.
that. So thank you, sir, for motivating us and thrilling us with your experiences and guiding us that we should be our self-image and we should compare ourselves with ourselves only, and rather than comparing it with anyone else. And thank you, sir, for your session. It was great to have you as a motivating speaker and a mentor for us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Divya?
Yeah, Chad, it was a great experience. Thank you so much for having us and giving us your time. I hope it's very precious and still you came us join the session and share your thoughts with us. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
And Nikita?
Thank you
Anything?
very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's a pleasure to host you, and we would love to do it again. Thank you very much, sir.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate the
Nikita?
opportunity.
Anything you want to add? Nikita, we cannot hear you. Okay, no problem. So thank you so much, Chad, for being with me and sharing your thoughts. It's like I can't still believe means we are hearing you live, and thank you so much for all the valuables learning that you have been giving us. Thanks for inspiring us, and more importantly, I can't even thank enough for doing this for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chad.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to have the conversation, and let me know as you guys talk about what we discussed, and as you guys make it
Yes.
through the book. If you want to have a follow up and you have any specific questions, happy to do it again.
Sure, sure. So, Chad, before you leave, anything that you want to say to all the viewers? Any final words?
Well, the closing thought for me, again, I'll go back. I said it a lot, but I don't think it can be overstated. Is just be very careful about the stories you tell yourself about all the situations in your life, because at the end of our lives, we will all become the stories that we tell ourselves. If you're telling yourself a story of I'm a victim and poor me, then that's who you're going to be. If you're telling yourself a story of I've got this situation, I'm going to own it, I'm going to figure out a way to make it look good, then that's who you're going to be. So you just have to be very, very careful about the stories that you tell yourself, because at the end of our lives, we all become those stories.
Absolutely agree. And we'll make sure that whenever we do something like experientially well by your learnings that we had today, definitely we'll reach out to you, we'll ping you, and we'll let you know that how your words has made us visionary from the victim. Thank you so much, Chad, for being here with us.
I'd love that. Yep. Thank you.
And just a last request, if you can ask all the viewers to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, it will definitely make my day.
Yep. Viewers, definitely please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Share it with a friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chad, for being with us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For all the viewers, I hope you all had a great learning experience and you are also feeling the motivated that I am feeling. So please go out, follow Chad's handle. I have pinned down every single information in the description. If you want to buy the book Blind Ambition by Chad, so please go and check out chadfoster.com/book. That is also pasted in the link in the description. And more importantly, keep loving, keep spreading smiles. I'll see you with another video. If you haven't liked, share, and subscribe to my channel, please do it right away. Thank you so much for being with us during the session. Thank you, Seema. I'll see you on the other side.
What if I told you that the worst thing that happened to you could be the best thing that happened to you? Imagine going blind at 20 years old. Imagine never being able to see another sunset. Never seeing your partner. Never seeing your children. Imagine emerging from that experience, seeing everything more clearly. I don't have to imagine that. That's the story of my life.
Left turn more.
The facts are far less relevant than the stories we tell ourselves. We all become our stories.
The biggest influence in your life is you.
Victims stay trapped. Visionaries bounce back. I lost my vision to give you yours.